here we are. It's the main event. It's Jack Hermansson. It's Joey Pfeiffer. Body Bags. B. Joe Pfeiffer. Body Bags, by the way, very cool nickname. It's the middleweight main event. Let's get right into it. First up, Jack Hermansson has not fought in over a year. That is very concerning, especially when you consider his age. That is not good. Got KO'd by Dolidze. Did have a win. That was his last fight. Did have a win over Chris Curtis before that. That was that super weird one where then Chris Curtis kind of lost his shit because Hermansson was fighting like a bitch, which he was. I mean, let's be real. That was not a fun fight to watch, and it was all because of Hermansson. But he won the fight, so I can't really say too much there. But yeah, we move on into the first point, which is the subs. Obviously, that is his best asset, the submissions. He's gotten some pretty crazy submissions in the past. I don't know if that'll help him this time, but I gotta say it in there. Put it in there anyway, because it is a 5-round fight. You never know. You make one mistake, he's all over it, and you're asleep on the canvas. The movement is what won him that Chris Curtis fight, 100%. He is very elusive, very awkward, moves a lot, very hard to hit. But he does keep his hands pretty low, which is concerning when you're going against somebody like this, because you could get knocked out. But yeah, moves very well and is very hard to hit, as Chris Curtis showed us. The one huge downside for him right now, though, is his age. For sure, that's an issue. 8 years older than Pfeiffer, and as I mentioned, hasn't fought in a year. That's also a problem. He is definitely slower than Pfeiffer, and probably does not have the chin anymore. So that really could be a problem. The chin gets worse over age. The speed gets worse as you age. And yeah, just reaction times in general. So really could play a massive, massive factor in this fight. Also has a lower output as well. And that also goes down over age a little bit, but more so the chin and the speed. That's a problem. The odds right now, plus 210. Good Lord. Not supporting Jack Hermansson at all are the odds makers. They're going all in on Body Bags, Joe Pfeiffer. Heavy punches and kicks. But really, he is extremely well-rounded, and he has shown that in the UFC so far. He has looked very, very good. Heavy punches and kicks. That's been obvious in every single fight. Could get a KO against anybody like that. Super accurate. I mean, my God, the speed behind it, too. Oh, like he can crack. I mean, you can hear those punches land for sure every single time. It is going to be loud in that octagon in the apex with those punches landing and kicks. That is for sure. And then insanely heavy wrestling as well. Just power and everything, really. But yeah, insanely heavy wrestling and great submissions. That's what I mean. He is the definition of a well-rounded fighter. I am very impressed by Joe Pfeiffer. That is for sure. And by the way, was not impressed by Joe Pfeiffer the first time I saw him on the Contender Series. Not the Stoltzfus garbage, that nonsense. But the last time he was on Contender Series, I wasn't really that impressed. But as soon as I saw him in that first fight, I was like, okay, fuck everything I said. This guy's actually really, really good. And he's just been getting better and better ever since. Extremely well-rounded. But not much experience yet. And that is a problem. That could be a problem, at least, in this fight, because this is by far, and it's not even close, not even a question, this is by far his toughest fight yet. Only 3 UFC fights total. And he is in a main event against a ranked Jack Hermansson. That is a tough task. It really, really is. Only 3 UFC fights, and let me tell you who they are. Alan Amadovsky, who is completely useless, so that almost doesn't even count. Then he had GM3, Gerald Mearshart. Let's be real. I mean, he's been pretty hit and miss. He has been pretty good, but he's also kind of been blown out of the water a couple of times, including against Joe Pyfer. So is that a great win or not? Not really sure. And then I would say he actually went down a step, probably, against Abdul Razak Al Hassan, because he hasn't really shown much promise either. So we haven't really seen him go against anybody even close to this caliber yet. So this is going to be the true test of whether Joe Pyfer is going to be a top 5 talent or not. That's really what this fight is. But my God, is he a beast. I mean, he really is. Everything has huge power with him. Striking, grappling. He is way bigger than everybody, especially Jack Hermansson. He is just absolutely massive. The only person who might be bigger is Gregory Rodriguez, who is earlier on this card, also at middleweight. But yeah, in general, he is pretty much always the bigger guy. And really, he hasn't showed any cardio issues at all. So I don't imagine that that's going to be a problem. I mean, I also think there's going to be a finish anyway, so probably won't even come into play as it is. But from what I've seen, this guy's mindset and his training should surpass anything like that. I truly don't think cardio is going to be an issue. We haven't seen any slowing down whatsoever from him, so I think that's going to be completely fine. Which is probably why those odds are at minus 275 right now. So who's getting the edge? Well, you could probably tell where I'm going with this, but I'll humor everybody. It's pretty close on paper because of the experience, of course. I mean, Hermansson is used to those 5-rounders and can be really tricky to hit. So, maybe Pyfer doesn't really get any clean strikes in, and Hermansson kind of controls him over the 5 rounds, or at least 3 out of the 5 rounds. Maybe he wins 3, 4, 5 and wins. I could see that happening. Pyfer hasn't had anybody super tough yet, but again, he is an absolute tank. I mean, watch the tape on this guy. It's very impressive to watch. And I'm not gonna lie, I gotta go with the tank. He's 8 years younger, and that really is one of the huge selling points for me in this matchup specifically. He is 8 years younger. He's super strong, super dangerous everywhere, especially on the feet. I think he should be able to get a win here, should be able to get a knockout or any kind of finish. Yeah, he should just be able to win, I think. So I'm giving him the edge.